Welcome back to Vinyl Whistle Lane for another stream on the channel. And today is week one of the championship predictions as the championship season starts tomorrow night. We've got Rich from the Suffolk Crunch. His team takes on Birmingham City in the opener, and that one probably be a cracker, to be fair. Birmingham are highly rated to finish high this season. Ipswich, favourites to win the title. Yeah, we're going to chat with the lads. Steve's going to be joining us as well. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you know and you haven't subscribed already. Please get down and do so. We have got 3 shows tonight, by the way. We have got the match preview for Sheffield Wednesday coming up on the channel at 8 o'clock, and then 9:15 we're going to be live again for the late night whistle as we chat about Mads Hermansen, Wilfred Ndidi, and much more. Letters in the comments. Craig, how are we? I think 18's a bit cheap, yeah. Evening, geese. How are we? You're 18 fucking million, mate. I'm kind of pissed off with it, to be fair. I'll be honest. West Ham have got a bargain. We've had our pants pulled down. I'll be honest about it. It's quite frank, but I just wish we could deal better. But let's get the boys in. Steve, how are we, mate?
Not to bad yourself.
I've seen better days after the news of Mads Hermansen. Yeah, I'm good. Steve, Rich, how are we?
Jack's you got another 3 hours fuming before you go live to talk about it.
I bloody have, mate. I just want to bring it up in this when we chat about Leicester. But Rich, welcome back to the channel, mate. Let everybody know what you do regarding Ipswich Town. Yeah,
I just started my own channel about just over a year ago, the Suffolk Crunch. If you like your football, I'll just do a few lives, mate, and whatnot. And if anyone's about and anyone wants to join in and subscribe and get involved, head over to YouTube and drop a subscribe. And I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing a few wins this season, because it was a little bit thin on the ground last year. We won 4 games. We even got beaten by you lot.
Yeah, you were worse than we were in the end.
Yeah, we were actually worse than you were.
Yeah, I mean, we had conversations about Leicester and Ipswich last season, and I think Rich kind of were like level-headed on Ipswich of how things were going to come about. I think we both agreed on relegation in the end. We both knew we were going to go down. Obviously, Leicester looked really bad compared to Ipswich at one point. And then all of a sudden, we finished on top of them, which I was quite surprised with how bad we were, Southampton were. But yeah, it's one of them. But Rich, talk to me before we go on to the predictions about Ipswich, expectations for this season. How is the transfer window gone in preparation for the new season? Talk to me about all that.
Well, we've had a funny old week if you're on the socials. I mean, our fans are losing their absolute minds, Jack. Look, we signed David Button. I think he's the 4th choice goalie, so we're not really that worried about him. Cedric Kipre's come in. Obviously played at the Baggies. We got Ashley Young. Still going at 40. You know, he's still got at least probably another year in. We signed a midfielder from France, Azor. I still can't pronounce his name. Matizwa. He's sort of the replacement because we lost Sam Morsey. I'm still a little bit. So we've let him go to Saudi. He had a year left on his contract. He's gone out there. Look, he was a really good servant for us, Sam Morsey. Great captain. But I'm a little bit surprised that they let him go when we were really short in midfield. You know, we've lost midfielders. Calvin Phillips has gone. Luongo's obviously he was out of contract. He's gone to Millwall. So we let Morsey go, and we're still a little bit light in that midfield area. We signed Jens Kajus today. He was with us last season. He signed on loan from Napoli, which is good. But we need another one in there. We were strongly linked with Hayden Hackney, you know, for I think 20 million, which would have been a championship record. But he's chosen at the minute to stay at Borough because he obviously wants Premier League football. And I understand that. Look, he's 23. That might be one that we revisit. Maybe, I don't know, if the end of the window, if you don't get Premier League interest, maybe in January if we're doing well. And we're still linked. He hasn't actually signed yet. Chuba Akpom. He was going to go to Birmingham. Then we've nicked in to get him, and then Birmingham come in, said they wanted to buy him, but he'd already had his medical. So I'm not quite sure why he hasn't signed for us. We seem really quite slow, Jack, on the transfers, getting him over the line. But at the minute, look, we've got some very good players from last season. We were obviously favourites for the division. We were favourites, I think, a day after the Premier League had finished. Somehow, I don't know how they made us favourites. But look, the expectations there this season on McKenna that he hasn't probably had before, other than when we were in League One, which we were expected to get out of. And then obviously we got promoted back to back from the Championship. And there's no expectation on him there. And I think I've said on here, I think a few times, that there wasn't really any pressure from our fans on him last season in the Premier League, because I think it's always going to be a struggle. I said to you, I thought even at the start of the season we were probably going to go back down. It was no surprise to me that the season ended the way it did. But I think this season there's expectation on McKenna to deliver a promotion. Your favourites for a reason. And I think we're going to have to get going from game one. And it's a tough game tomorrow night up at St Andrews. But we'll be ready. It'll be a good game to watch if you're a neutral. I think that it'll be an exciting game. And look, it's good to be back in the Championship. It's a more competitive division, and we won 4 games last season in 38, and it was a bit boring in the end. Look, I know you've obviously had success in the Premier League. We all remember when you won the league, and it was fantastic. But as a product and a fan of a team coming up from the Championship, I think it's not a level playing field. It's a real struggle, and we all want to get back there. But I think I'm going to enjoy this season going to games and winning games. And I think that's what it's about when you go and watch your team, is enjoyment, seeing your mates. But ultimately, you want to get wins on the board. And hopefully, we'll get plenty this season.
Steve, I think we can reiterate what Richard said, can't we, regarding Leicester this season? The amount of batterings we took last season, it'd be nice to see us finally win games this year. Transfer business, incomings at Leicester have been rather slow, haven't they? Like Rich has iterated with Ipswich, gone in that process type of things. What's your initial thoughts on Leicester this season, Steve? I've asked you quite a few times about your thinking. Where have you sort of looking at us? Because this sort of, I've seen you tweet today regarding the fast track of this points deduction scenario, but what sort of understanding are you getting now with Leicester? Is it third? Is it second? Is it winning the Championship? Where do you sort of see us realistically, like, going into it? And do you think the team now is really strong enough?
Just quickly, I put in the chat just then, if you think that Ipswich have been slow, Rich, we're in a coma if that's the case, because we've made one signing so far. So, have
you got a kit yet, Steve?
We've got a kit. We don't know about the sponsor as of yet, but we've got a kit. We don't know whether or not we're money laundering or we're going to put someone else on there at the moment, but close enough, I guess. With Leicester, it's a tale of two halves, really, isn't it? It's, if we get a points deduction, we finish sort of anywhere from sort of second below. If we don't get a points deduction, we could. I think we challenge Ipswich for the Championship, realistically, because I think yes, you have a good squad, but if you look at the quality that we've got as well, we're not that far off, really. The only thing that you've got is a stable management system with players that have been handpicked for McKenna over the last sort of couple of years. So, I think you guys are going to do really well, but we're a bit of an unknown, really. Like I said, if we don't get a points deduction, we could quite easily win the league or finish second. If we get one, depending on how much it is, you're finishing sort of second all the way down to sort of 6th or 7th, really. So I'm excited. I think we've got quite an easy run in for the first sort of 4 or 5 games. We don't hit anyone for a while. So whereas you guys play Southampton next week, is that right?
Yeah, Southampton next Sunday at home.
Yeah. So we could be 6 points, 3 points clear of Ipswich already. So it's in the bag.
Yeah.
Like Kevin says here, going with what we've got, always going to be the case. Not overly bothered about Mads leaving. and Ndidi going. Only getting 18 million is robbery. That's what Kevin thinks about the whole Hermanson thing. Between Wilf and Mads Hermanson, it works out to be about 27 mil. And if you add on Conor Cody's money, it's an extra £2 million. So that's 29 million between 3 players. I would be more concerned with Mads if we didn't have a proper number 2 to step up. We have. Stolarsk's a great keeper. He's a good shot stopper. And I think he does well next season for us. He's someone we can trust in. I would, if someone said to me, if you had to prefer to sell either Bilal El-Khanous or Mads Hermanson, you'd say Mads straight away, because I think Bilal, you want to keep him. But I guess that's the same for you, isn't it, Rich, regarding Amari Hutchinson and that? Obviously, key players are what's going to get you through this season, and you don't really want to try and sell your best players at cheaper prices, do you, to be honest?
Look, I think it's life in the Championship, and I think I look at us now. What is it today? 6th or 7th of August. I think
7th.
You still got till the end of September, and I think when you are a relegated club, you're going to get your best players are going to get cherry picked. So you probably your squad's not going to take shape until probably that last week of the transfer window. You're not really going to know where you are. I remember like Southampton a couple of years ago when I think Ward-Prowse was still playing for them and then he left. So I think it's a little bit like that at the minute. Look, Amari's going to leave. I think he didn't go. So we played in Auxerre last week and he wasn't in the right mental state to travel, which says to me, he set his heart on moving to the Premier League. I've got no problem with him leaving. What I have a problem is because we the last 2 years, we've signed him from Chelsea. We've given him a platform to perform, and McKenna's helped him, with his coaching. He's helped him grow as a player. So I'll say this, but I know there's no loyalty, is there? There's no loyalty in football. You've only got to look at Alexander Isak, at Newcastle now, training on his own. To me, Amari, he's going to get his move anyway. Just get your head down. Yeah. And even if you have to play the first couple of games, look, I've did here this afternoon. I don't think he's travelled to Birmingham tomorrow. I don't know how sort of true that is, but we're a little bit light in numbers in certain positions. So for me, you're still under contract to the football club. If I ring up my boss tomorrow and say I'm not in the right mental state, he's not going to be very happy, is he? Whereas footballers, it's totally different because we all know how they work, So Amari's going to leave, but I look at Nathan Broadhead, who we've still got, who's probably going to go to Wrexham. He was at Wrexham when he was a 10-year-old in their academy. He's a Welsh international and he wants to go. And he said to McKenna, he wants to go. But at this moment, it's not the right time for us as a football club to let him go. He will leave before the end of the window. There's no doubt about that. But he's going about it in the right way. He's got his head down. He's trained. He played last week. He came on at Auxerre, and he's probably going to be involved tomorrow. And that's for me, says a lot about his character. He's professional, whereas Hutchinson, he trained this week. McKenna said in his press conference yesterday, he's missed a couple of games. He's had a medical issue. Now, a medical issue for me says there's obviously someone's in his ear, obviously his agent. There was reports last night, I think Sky reported Notts Forest had bid 35 million. Brentford bid 35 million 2 or 3 weeks ago when he did have a relegation clause. That's run out, I totally agree with that. But we all know how modern day football works, So now we're in a position where we can control how much we get. Hopefully there's like Brentford and Forest are in for him. Hopefully another couple of teams maybe. We get that money could go up to maybe 40, 45 million. I know a lot of people say, look, he didn't have a great season in the Championship last year. I look at Tyler Diblin at Southampton. They're wanting 45 million for him, and he didn't really set the world alight. So that's probably where we're at. I think Chelsea have got 25% of whatever we make. I think we signed him for 20 million. So whatever we make up after that. So he's going to go. It's disappointing, but it's a fact of life. When you get relegated, your team gets picked apart. I see Leif Davis today. There was some rumours. There's a few Premier League teams after him. He's different. I wouldn't be selling him at any price because we've lost Connor Townsend. He's done his ACL. He done his ACL last week. I know it's harsh, Jack. You're getting geared up for the season. He's played in a friendly. No one was near him. That's his ACL. That's probably his season over. So we're short now at left back. So I wouldn't have sold Leif Davis anyway. he's got the quality in this league. We've seen him in this league before. So we need to keep hold of as many good players as we can. But until that window, as they say, what do they say, Jack? It's slammed shut. They always say, don't they? The transfer window is slammed shut on the 1st of September. It's a little bit up in the air, but we need, if we can get a couple of results early, you know, it's a tough start for us. It's like Steve was saying, you know, you got Birmingham away, then you've got Southampton. They're two really tough games, and we could easily lose both of them games. You know, that is a fact of life of the Championship, because we all know what the Championship's like. You know, it's a very unforgiving league, and if you're not on it on that certain day, you get beaten.
Yeah. What's your thoughts, Steve? Obviously, we've got an interesting start to the season with Birmingham in there, Preston, Charlton. We've got a fairly easier run into Ipswich. Leicester have very much got to get off to a good start, haven't they? They've got to make up the points, haven't they, with this so-called possibility of a points deduction. It isn't certain until the founder's guilty, Steve, of course. So what's your initial thinking on it?
I think the clear indication is how we come out on Sunday. You know, if we hit the ground running in the first 4 or 5 minutes, you know, it's going to be, it should hopefully be a good start, and we score a few goals, and you know, in the positive column for goals scored for the season. Then we do travel to a Preston side that, you know, on paper are okay, but I wouldn't say they're the hardest team to play. And then who's after that? Let me get the fixtures up. Sorry, but it does look a lot easier. I say easier, as Rich said. It's never a given in the Championship. We went down to Plymouth all that way, and we got beat. So, you know, and we were awful that game. So, you know, Charlton away, and then Birmingham, then Oxford. So, yeah, realistically, there's only one game here there that we could potentially struggle in, really, on paper, and that's Birmingham.
Yeah.
But I like to think that we've got enough quality. And to be fair, I think Ipswich have enough quality to beat Birmingham and Southampton. You know, I think the positive is having McKenna there. You know, both Leicester and Southampton having new managers. Especially with Leicester having Marty come in sort of only three or so weeks ago. You know, you have sort of stolen the lead a little bit in regards to having a sort of settled squad as much as you can with players leaving and what have you. But yeah, I'm confident for the next sort of 4 or 5 games for sure.
When is the final whistle? Well, the final whistle of the transfer window is the 1st of September. Is it 7 o'clock?
7 p.m. 7 p.m.
That's the final whistle of the transfer window. We probably will have a deadline day show for that one. All Birmingham have his momentum, which is big. I get it, but I don't get the hype of their squad doing things. They've had a fantastic window, Birmingham, no shadow of doubt. Maybe people have put them down as dark horses this season to do in Ipswich, which wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. We know how Ipswich came up, didn't we, Rich, that season? And people thought, okay, these could be ones for the playoffs this year. But then you went and did it even further, and then you finished up there with Leeds and Leicester and Southampton, and you're thinking, you know what? This Ipswich team's got something. And
I suppose it is a little bit different, Jack, with us, because it was pretty unexpected with us, because no one really thought. I thought if we make we're sort of looking to push for the playoffs, but look, we had that momentum, like we say, and we lost 6 games that season. Whereas Birmingham, there's a lot more noise, isn't there? I've been watching the documentary. I don't know if you two have been watching it. I like how their manager comes across. I wouldn't say I'm a massive fan of Tom Brady. Look, brilliant as an athlete, but watching him on there, not really for me. But they've got the momentum, but then they've got a lot of noise outside and probably around the club. So there's a lot more expectation on them to do really well than when we were sort of underdogs, I'd say. And even myself thought, look, we're up there at Christmas time, and then we had a bit of a wobble. And it probably did help that Leeds had a bit of a meltdown round about Easter time, and it helped us. But look, we finished on 96 points last time in the Championship, and you got, I think, 97. And I'm looking now, if you want to get promoted out of this league, you're going to have to hit that sort of target.
Yeah. Again,
when you look at last season, I think Leeds and Burnley, did they both get 100? And you think Sheffield United, I think, ended on 92, and it was only that 3 games sort of, that was around Easter time where they lost 3 on the bounce. So they'd have probably hit nearly 100. So it's a very unforgiving league, and we can all look at the fixture and think, yeah, we got some easier games there, but it doesn't always work out like that. That's why it's so good.
Yeah.
That's why I like the Championship. You know, it is very much unforgiving league. It can be. You look, last time we were in it, you won't think we'd be losing against teams like Plymouth and that, but we did. They shocked us. They very much did, and that's what you get in the Championship. It can be anyone's game. You're not always certain to win the game. Now, how good your squad is, unless the squad were good. And people were expecting us to go and break that Reading record that season, but we obviously fell short by like 9 points. And yeah, we never ended up doing it in the end. And we finished on 97. I think Ipswich, what did they finish on?
Yeah, 96.
96.
Point behind. It's not bad at all, is it, to be fair? But that's what makes the Championship special. You don't know who's going to finish in the playoffs. People can make late pushes. The relegation battle's always about 6-7 teams, and you're thinking, this is interesting, and this is what makes the Championship, I think, better than the Premier League, to be honest, Rich. Let's get on to the predictions. I think we've all got them ready. I know Rich were scratching around with his.
I'm doing it on the fly. I'll do it on the fly because I'll probably change them anyway.
Right, there we go. Okay, fair enough. Right, we're going to go to your boys first, Rich. Birmingham versus Ipswich. Big Friday night cracker to kick off the Championship. And this one's going to be a real eyebrow raiser, to be honest. Birmingham, a lot of people have expected them to go and do a lot this season and get into the playoffs. Ipswich, they've got pressure on them to go and win the title with the bookies and that at the minute. Everyone fancies you, Rich. How do you sort of see your side getting on it tomorrow night at St Andrews?
It made me smile when these fixtures come out because they're all supposed to be random. But I could have predicted it would probably be either Birmingham away or I went for Wrexham. I thought we might have Wrexham on the Friday away because it'd have been another big game. And obviously Southampton have got Wrexham. I think that's on Saturday lunchtime, I think. But yeah, like I said before, we've had a really good pre-season. Ipswich Leicester in the snow. Yeah, I remember that when Roy Keane was manager.
Did he threaten the ref?
Well, we were 3-0 up at half time. That was when Sven-Göran Eriksson was your manager. And it was like literally the game should never have finished. It was literally they had the guys out with the shovels. I think they had the blue lines out.
Yeah.
I don't know how that game finished. I mean, let's not even talk about Roy Keane as a manager for us because he was an absolute disaster. But yeah, getting back to pre-season, we've done well. We're scoring plenty of goals. Yeah, look, it's going to be a very, very tricky game because Birmingham are going to... St Andrews tomorrow night will be absolutely bouncing.
Yeah.
Probably sunny day, sunny evening. Probably a lot of their fans be finishing early. They'll be in the pubs. So it's going to be a really, really hot atmosphere. For me, you go there, you don't want to give anything away in the first 20 minutes, quieten that crowd down, get on the ball, control it. But look, if we could get a goal in the first 20 minutes, it'd be fantastic. But do not let them score because we all know what St Andrews is like. If they get ahead of us, it's going to be an even tougher game than it is like looking at it now. Look, I'll take a point. I know people might think that's being a little bit negative when you're sitting on the fence, but I think where we are as a squad and we've got a few injuries, we've got a few holes in the team. We've got a good starting 11. Not quite sure at the minute, like off the bench. We need a bit more squad depth.
Yeah.
I think it could go either way. It could be a 2-1 either way, but I'll go 1-1. I'll sit on the fence for 1-1 and I'd come away from St Andrews. I'd be happy with that, to get a point from your first game. Look, you're not going to, if you go over there, you go to Birmingham, get rolled over, look, there'll be a lot of noise at their end, and then you think that, then you go on the socials and people will be having a meltdown. Look, you've got to keep your heads. It's 46 games. It's a long season. Look, Birmingham made some really good signings. I'll take a draw. I'll go 1-1.
1-1. Steve, what do you reckon with this one? I mean, this one could probably go either way. The momentum Birmingham's got winning League One by a comfortable margin of 111 points, by the way. Ipswich, I don't know if they're going to be feeling it after last season's relegation. Ipswich have had a good transfer window, so have Birmingham. two sides who are going to want to fancy getting off to a good start, to be honest, because both are rated to be up there at the end of the season. So how do you see this one going at St Andrews?
I actually agree with what Rich has just said, like entirely. I put it down as 1-1 myself. I think it'll be a half-foot game for both of them. It does help that it's under the lights and it kicks off the season, so they'll be up for it. Ipswich have a quality squad, so I go 1-1 for me.
I think both sides are really going to be at it, and it's going to be a battling Friday night cracker between these two. And I think it's always in these type of games who gets the first goal. If Birmingham get that first goal, that place is going to be rocking tomorrow night, and this is where they'll want to take even more advantage. But I think it'd be a good game to watch, a good spectacle. But I do feel there's a lot riding even early on in the season with these two. So I would very much, I tell you what, I'm going to stick with you boys for a draw. I'm going to go 2-2 for this one. I did have you down to win, Rich, but then considering everything that's been taken into consideration, I'm just going to sort of pick this one. So I'm going to go 2-2. Terry's gone 2-1. Armchair's gone 2-1 to Ipswich. Arthur's gone 2-2. John's gone back in Ipswich again. He feels they're going to be too strong for Birmingham. But like Barry says here, different proposition League One to the Championship, and Birmingham may suffer rabbit in the headlights syndrome. It's if Birmingham can keep that sort of style they were playing in League One into the Championship, to be honest. And this is where I sort of look at Birmingham more. Will they have to adapt a lot more, which I think they will do. Fox Fanatics has got it at 1-1. The next one, boys, is newly promoted Charlton. They're at home to Watford. Watford have had a decent window. Charlton are very much, what's going to keep them up this season is the home form. Nathan Jones is very passionate, isn't he, on that touchline, and he'll try and make it difficult for teams to beat them at the Valley this season. I have got them to stay up. Watford, you never know what you're going to get from a Watford side, to be honest. You could think they'd have a good window and they'll do well in finishing top half, but then last season wasn't really the case. So Watford and Charlton, I've got a narrow 1-0 away win to Watford for this one. What have you got regarding this one, Steve?
So Charlton have made some decent signings, but their players from the League One making the step up, in my opinion. So it'll be interesting to see what they if they can make the step up and perform in this league. But if not, and they go down with the players, they've got a decent League One squad. If it doesn't get picked apart, for me, I've gone for a 2-0 Watford win. I just think Watford, they look good in pre-season. They've made some decent signings themselves. They look pretty strong. I don't think you'll see them around the playoffs, but 2-0 win for me.
Fair enough. Rich, what about you, mate? Charlton, Watford.
I think the first thing we need to chat about is how long will Watford stick with their manager? Because they normally make a change, don't they?
Yeah.
Another new manager in. Look, Tom Cleverley done really well last season. I thought he had a decent season there, and then they got rid of him. We played Charlton in pre-season a couple of weeks ago. I sat right near the away dugout, Jack. I mean, Nathan Jones, even in the pre-season friendly, he was nearly on the pitch. I mean, he did not stop literally for the 90 minutes. Look, I know he's a bit of a Marmite character, Nathan Jones. Look, he'll add something to the Championship. I've got Charlton to struggle this season. I think they've signed, like you say, some decent players. They've got Charlie Kelman, who done well, didn't he, for Orient last year. I'll go for a narrow 2-1 Watford win, I think.
Ooh. A lot of the chat have got Watford winning this one. Armchair's got them at 1-0 for Charlton to win. 2-1 Charlton. Terry's gone again, 1-0. There's a few if and buts in some in the middle. Paul, 2-1 Watford. So it's a bit mixed bag with... It's always, you can't really call the first game of the season, can you? Like when you get halfway through it, you sort of see where teams are at by Christmas time, and you think this is where they could really potentially finish and how good their side is or it isn't. So the next one is the CBS Arena, Coventry versus Hull City. The Battle of the Cities, Rich. How do you see this one going? I mean, Hull have done some good business in this transfer window, despite the whole with the battle with the EFL. Coventry, I think they've brought in Rushworth, haven't they? But how do you think these two fare?
Look, I think Coventry obviously done well, didn't they, under Lampard last season. He came in, they were struggling. Look, a bit unlucky really in them playoff games against Sunderland. If you watched them, they were the better team over both legs, and they just didn't quite get the rub of the green there at the end. And obviously Sunderland got the win. Look, I think Coventry have a decent season. I've got them to be in the playoffs. Hull, obviously, look, they've got the embargo, haven't they? I think they're not allowed to sign any, can't spend any money. Is it for free windows ban? I think they've got, haven't they?
Yeah, they can sign players that are on free contracts or loans, but they can't pay money for players.
Yeah, so look, it's going to be difficult for them. Look, I think Coventry at home, obviously it'll be a big crowd there, probably nearly sold out CBS. I go 2-0 Coventry.
2-0 Cov. Steve?
I've gone 3-0 Coventry. I think they've had a decent window so far. Bringing in Carl Rushworth from Brighton on loan. He's a decent goalkeeper, and he did all right in League 2 and League 1. He did okay at Swansea last year, but I think he's a decent keeper. It all depends on who they lose for me in regards to where they finish this league. I've put them in the playoffs, but for me, I'm 3-0. Hull, they're going to struggle this year. I've got them relegated mainly because if they can't sign players for money and they've got only free transfers, and I know this week they've got a couple of injuries up front as well, so I just think they're going to struggle this season, especially against Coventry, who are a decent side.
Cov, I've got them in the playoffs. Hull, I reckon they are going to be in the bottom half, I'll be honest. They have brought in Ollie McBurney, which is a powerhouse of a striker in the Championship. They have got experience in John Lundstrom, who's a good midfielder, who was at Sheffield United. So they've got the experience and the young mixed. Obviously, new manager. No one really knows much about him. I think Hull are looking on signing Brandon Williams, I believe, and they're looking on bringing Joe Gelhardt back. So maybe that helps them push a bit more up the table. I know a lot of people have got them to sort of struggle this season, haven't they, to like go down and that. And I was one of them who kind of debated that, to be honest. I've got Coventry winning this one, 2-1, in my opinion. I think Cov will have enough to just see it off. Arthur's got it 1-1, Cov 3-1, 2-1 Coventry, 4-0 Coventry. Wow, okay. 2-2, 3-0 Cov, 2-1 Hull. Surprise result. There's the first one. Brandon Williams looking elsewhere. Cov 2, Hull 2. Yeah, I like Jack Redoni. Redoni is a good Championship midfielder. I believe Southampton have had a bid rejected for him. So maybe that's the case. Tyler Diblin does leave. Redoni is a very good midfielder in Championship. They've obviously got Sakamoto as well, haven't they, who's done bits for them last year. And yeah, Frank Lampard will want to get off to a good start. The next one is newly promoted Wrexham going to recently relegated to the Championship, Southampton. Rich, we'll start off with you for this one. Southampton, Wrexham. How do you think Wrexham fare against the Saints?
I think is that the Saturday lunchtime game?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. Look, I see Rob McElhenney, or whatever his name is. He's changed his name, hasn't he, now? He's Rob Mack.
Okay.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Look, Wrexham, 3 promotions. Look, fantastic. And I know people will say, yeah, but they spent a lot of money. Yeah, but we all know that the only way you're going to get anywhere in football is by spending, So to do what they've done, fair play. But now, look, they're in, obviously, a lot tougher league.
Yeah.
If I'm being a little bit critical, I don't think Phil Parkinson is a Championship manager. I'd be surprised if he lasts the season. I know that's a little bit harsh from what he's done, but I think you've only got to look at Paul Mullin there. He done so well for them. And now he's gone to Wigan. And it's like, you can't be loyal in football anymore. Loyal will only get you so far. So I'll be surprised if Parkinson lasts the season. Look, they made some good signings. I mean, Kiefer Moore, they've got him, Connor Cody, Josh Windass. They're going down that experience route, So I think that's okay so far. What's their long-term plan? obviously they've got quite a lot of money. I think they'll be mid-table Wrexham this season. I think they'll probably have some good results. They'll have some bad results. Southampton, it's going to be interesting to see what Will Steele does, because he's got a big reputation, but he's going to have a lot of eyes on him, a lot more eyes on him than he had when he was in France. So all depends who they can keep hold of. I know, is Ramsdale, has he left yet, or is he still there?
He's gone Newcastle.
No, yeah, Newcastle, yeah.
So obviously, look, they've lost him. I think Carl Walker-Peters have gone.
Yep.
Diblin's going to leave. Right. They're going to lose players, but I think Southampton at home, I think they'll just have enough. I think they'll edge it 2-1.
Rich, what did you have for Cov Hull and Charlton Watford? I
had 2-0 Coventry and I had 2-1 Watford.
Steve's writing more down.
Yeah, I'm putting on my little spreadsheet so we can keep track. So.
That's a good thing to have, Steve, while you got your laptop actually, because we'll sit there, come back next week and think, what the hell? No, Southampton, it's how their squad's going to turn up this season after the batterings they took last season. I do think they need to do a bit more in the window. Armstrong will get goals this season, without a doubt. I think Archer he'll do all right in the Championship again. Southampton, Tyler Diblin, it's if and but whether he's going to be a Saints player. I believe he's training on his own at the minute, so that's an interesting one. I know other clubs are interested as well as Everton. Southampton have a good defence, but then they've got the goalkeeper, is it Bazunu, who they had last time in the Championship, who he got injured, didn't he?
He done his Achilles, didn't he? I think he done his Achilles in pre-season, didn't he?
He's a trusted
they replaced him with McCarthy, didn't they? And then that's where they went wrong, because he couldn't play out from the back.
Yeah. I've got Wrexham in 15th this season. I think Parkinson will be one of the mans to be sacked, to be fair. I like their experience, what they've brought in Josh Windass. Connor Cody, I mean, there's a lot to say about him if you're a Leicester fan, and Danny Ward going there and all. I think they've done us a favour. But yeah, I like what they're doing at Wrexham. I mean, 3 promotions in straight seasons is fantastic, in it, to be fair, for any club. And it just shows their ambition, and they obviously want to get to the big time. So I think they could really give Southampton a game in this one, but I think Southampton, I just think they're a bit too strong in the areas that they have got compared to Wrexham's team. So I've got Saints winning 2-1. Steve, what you got?
I've actually gone for a draw at 2-2.
Okay.
I think, we'll see how Southampton get on with the new manager, and they also lost Jan Bednarak a couple of weeks ago as well, so that's going to be a loss in defence for them. But they've still got Taylor Holwood-Bellis, who's an England international now. So they've got a strong squad, but I just think Wrexham with the Leicester City graveyard, with Cody, Danny Ward, Matty James, and is it Lewis Brunt? Is he there?
Lewis O'Brien.
No, we didn't. We have another Leicester lad that was it. But yeah, Lewis Brunt, he's there as well. He's in our academy.
Oh, is he?
So yeah,
wow.
So the Leicester graveyard. I think I've got them finishing 17th for Wrexham for me, and 3rd for Southampton. But yeah, it's a bit like the Ipswich Birmingham sort of game. They've come up. There'll be a lot of media attention, and they'll want to perform for the cameras. And I think Bazunu lets in a bizarre own goal. That's my bold prediction for the game.
Interesting. Arthur's got it 3-3. Jesus Christ. 1-0 Southampton, 2-0 Southampton, 3-1 Southampton. Nice City shirt, Steve. 2-0 Saints, 4-0 Southampton, 3-0 Southampton. Wrexham 1, Southampton 1. Evening, joined a bit late, jumping in 1-1. Connor Cody and Danny Ward, poor buggers. Connor Cody own goal is what Arthur's saying in a 3-3. Rich, how long are you giving McKenna if you get bad results?
That's a great question, that is, Paul. Look, it's like I said before, I remember when we went down in 2002 when we had George Burley, and there was a lot of expectation when we went back into the Championship, and he was sacked by October. Mm-hmm. Now, look, McKenna's got a great what's the word? him and Ashton, they're very tight knit, you know. But football, it never surprises you that things happen. You think, blimey, you'll see managers get sacked probably after 2 games. You think, what the hell's gone on there? Look, I think we can all say, if you have 10 to 12 games, you sort of know roughly where you're going to be sort of heading. But like I said, until that window shuts at the end of on the 1st of September, we're not really sure where we are with the squad. Look, I think he's got a lot of credit in the bank.
Yeah.
And I would say he'll be there all season. You know, you never know in football, you know. But if we got to the end of the season and we weren't promoted and we didn't get out of this league, you've only got to look at Chris Wilder at Sheffield United. You know, he had 92 points and it was only like a 3-game run there that probably derailed their season and they didn't go up automatically. They should have won the final. They should have beaten Sunderland. If you watch that game, for 75 minutes, they were way the better side. But football's all about results and it's all about winning. And you don't always get what you deserve. So he paid the price, you know, because Sheffield United fans probably thought, we'll go back to the Premier League. And that's what we're expecting. So I think he'll get time, but you just never know in football. Look, McKenna, for me, his legacy will always be there. Whatever happens this season, you know, he took us from nowhere in League One back to the Premier League. You know, no one ever expected last time that we'd get out of this league. But like I said earlier, there's more pressure on him now than ever to deliver, you know, because you're favourites for a reason. So we need a good start. You know, if we can get a good start, get some points early, get the home form, which last time out when we were in the Championship, we lost 1 home game all season. Look, McKenna's, his reputation is still very, very high. It's probably not as high as it was, you know, because he's obviously got a relegation on his CV. But if he can get another promotion, you know, then there'll be teams probably looking at him again. But no one knows in football. No one knows what's around the corner. But, yeah, so I've sort of sat on the fence there, haven't I, really?
Yeah, I think with McKenna, what you're more likely to happen is that you'll do really well at the start of the season, 10, 12, 14, 16 games or whatever, maybe be top of the league. And then because you can see some Premier League sides struggling this season. You know,
Great.
Brentford for one. I don't know how Keith Andrews is going to get on at Brentford. I don't know how Bournemouth are going to get on because I know they're selling another defender this week as well by the looks of it. You know, there's Forest. So I think you're more likely to lose McKenna to a Premier League club in sort of December, January time. And then that's when you'll see where, you know, Ipswich will finish in regards to who they can bring in, sort of thing. More so than how long do you give him? Because I think, as you said, he's got a lot of credit in the bank. You know, there's not many managers that can take a team up 2 divisions, get relegated, and then still have the backing of the entirety of the fan base, pretty much. You know, so I think that's more likely to happen, that he goes to a Premier League club when they lose some managers later in the season.
Yeah, boys, let's go to the Riverside. Middlesbrough taking on Swansea. Middlesbrough have got up there again this season for top 10. Swansea have had a cracking window, haven't they? They're signing that Brighton lad, aren't they? Which I think is a fantastic signing for them. Very good business by Swansea. Steve, I'm going to come to you with this one. Middlesbrough v Swansea. What do you reckon?
So I have gone for a Middlesbrough win, 1-0.
Okay.
I just think that they've got quite a lot of the players from last season still, and they should have finished higher than they did. The Carrick, I don't know what he was doing towards the end of the season, to be honest. They had a very strong squad for this league that quite easily could have finished in the playoffs. But I can just see it being a 1-0 win for Middlesbrough over Swansea. I've got Middlesbrough finishing in 11th this season ahead of Swansea in 19th. So, yeah, for me, I think they'll be it'll be a tight knit game, but I can see Middlesbrough nicking it.
I've got Middlesbrough in 8th. Believable. Swansea, I have got them in 12th. So I've got him sitting proper on mid-table territory. What do you reckon, Rich, with this one? Middlesbrough taking on Swansea.
I think Alan Sheehan done well, didn't he, at the end of last season? I think he had a good end to the season, and they've obviously Luka Modric is on board now, and I think is Snoop Dogg involved? I see the other week.
Yes, yeah.
I think he's in there. They obviously signed Cameron Burgess from us, which I think was a really good signing. Look, I think Borough at home at the Riverside. Like I said, they managed to keep hold of Hayden Hackney for now. I totally agree with you. I think Carrick, I think he underachieved there, didn't he? Really, you think probably expectation was that he could maybe get them out of the league, and look, he paid the price. But I think Borough at home, I think they might sneak it. I'll go for a 2-1 Middlesbrough win.
2-1. I think fancy Middlesbrough at home. I think 2-0. I think Rob Edwards, he's got a job on his hands to sort of be better than what Michael Carrick got outside last season. I want to sort of see a lot more of the guy they signed from Plymouth. What's his name? The number 10.
Finazaz.
Yeah, Finazaz and
Whittaker. Morgan Whittaker.
That's it, Whittaker. I want to see a lot more from him. I thought he was poor last year, my opinion. I think there were a lot of expectations around how good he is, and he just didn't show it. So, Finazaz, good player. Hayden.
Do you think quickly, Jack, about Whittaker? When he was at Plymouth, he was like the big fish there, you know. Now he's gone to Borough. You know, I don't even know. He didn't score many goals, did he, when he went there? You know, is it a case of like he was doing well when he was the big fish at Plymouth, and now he's gone to Borough? Borough are a big side, isn't they? They're a big club. There's expectation there. You know, he was a good player, but I thought he's a little bit of a one-trick pony when I see him play a lot of times. He can cut in on his left foot and bend one in the top corner, which I think he done against us more than once. But yeah, I'm not really sure about him.
The price tag, what they paid for him, were interesting. He's not lived up to that at all. And this is my issue. I got 2-0 Borough. Steve, Fox Fanatics has got 2-1. 3-2 is what Arthur's got him as. Scott's got 3-1 Borough. Callum's got 2-0. 3-1 Swansea. I think that's what Scott were going for. Sorry. 1-0 Swansea. 1-1. 3-2.
What was Rich's score again? Sorry.
You what?
What was Rich's score again?
Rich.
2-1.
2-1
Borough.
I was busy Googling Swansea.
Yeah. You have Philogene or Clark, Diblin or Whittaker. I would feel great. What? I think he's on about which wingers you'd probably take out of what you've got. I mean, you look at Philogene and Jack Clark, they're proven in the Championship, scored a lot of goals between them. Diblin and Whittaker, it's not really, they're not really proven, are they, to be honest? He proved it at Plymouth, Whittaker, but he hasn't proved it at Middlesbrough. Diblin, it's another big season for him. Which I don't really see him being at Southampton if they get the money for him. So I don't really know, to be fair. It's you can't really base a team on, like Rich said, until the window's shut. And then that's where you sort of look at your sides and think, yeah, these have had a good window. These could finish higher or lower. So it all depends. Next one is Norwich versus Millwall. Millwall. Is it Ivanovic? Good player. Young, talented striker. I think he's one to watch this season, to be fair. For some have put him even in for the Golden Boot, to be fair, for the Championship. Norwich, Josh Sargent, that deal's off for the Bundesliga. If he stays at Norwich, I think he scores quite a lot of goals. But Borges signs is going to be missing this season for Norwich. But I think they've had a good window. Norwich, to be fair, with the players they have brought in. I think they've been sensible under Liam Manning. And Millwall, I think, will be a competitive game at Carrow Road. Rich, how have you got this one?
Millwall have done well, haven't they, the last couple of seasons? They're one of them teams that they always sort of punch above their weight. And when they appointed Joe Edwards, it didn't really work there. Obviously, they tried to change a little bit of style. I remember going there on Valentine's Day, and it was like the den was like a ghost town. I've got one of my good mates supports them, and I said to him, I went to the den. You expect it to be hostile. It was literally anything but. You know, and then they had to bring Neil Harris back to save them. And now they've got, Alex Neil going back to his old club. Obviously done well at Norwich, got them promoted. He's a good Championship manager, knows what the division's about. And I think Millwall will have a decent... I think I've got Millwall about 8th this season. I think Ivanovic is a good player. He got, 12 goals last year. I'm a little bit surprised he's still there. I thought there might be some bigger teams looking at him. Manning's a good appointment for Norwich. I hate to say it. I think he'll do a decent job there. He's got, I think they've signed 9 or 10 players already. I I think Sargent will go, Jack. I don't really see him being there at the end of the window. If he is, I think, look, they've got obviously a striker there who, you know, he can score goals. He's got a little bit of an injury cloud over him. Never really completes a season. I think that'd be a decent game. 3-1 Norwich.
Oh, I've got Millwall down in 10th this season. I think they push. I think if they sign any more players, I think it gives them a real understanding to really compete for the playoffs again. There always seems to be there in about Millwall. You never write them off. That's why I always say Neil Harris is doing well. When he obviously went in there, I think they've got Alex Neil now, haven't they? Who's proven in the Championship. Transfer window didn't go well at Stoke for Neil Harris, did he? He had to really gel out all these players and everything like that, and it just fell flat on its face. But I think he's got a real understanding more at Millwall. I think this one is Norwich. I've got them in 7th this season. So I think a lot of people have got Norwich higher up. With these two sides, it will be telling to where they do actually finish. Can they actually cement them top, sort of, in the top half sort of thing? I've got Norwich nicking this one 2-1 against Millwall. Steve, what have you got?
So I've got a 1-1 draw for this one. Norwich have had a good window if you look at the players they've brought in. The defender from Swansea, Harry Darling, is a decent signing. He was linked to several clubs in the Championship and chose Norwich. Jeffrey Schlupp's at Norwich now, which will be an interesting reunion when he comes back to the KP.
Score against us, you know.
Yeah, he might do. But I think, they've had a very good window of Norwich. And I think I agree with what everyone says about Millwall. They're there or thereabouts. I've got them finishing 9th, and I've got Norwich finishing 5th. So, but in this game, 1-1 draw. I think they'll cancel each other out.
Fair enough. Arthur's got 2-1 Norwich, 2-0 Norwich, 3-0 Norwich, 1-1. Mad's gone to West Ham for around £20 million, 18 to be. Millwall to be dark horses this season. I can agree with that. I know a lot of people have got Birmingham, but there's a lot of expectance on Birmingham, to be honest. Steve, we're going to start with you with this one. Oxford United versus Pompey. I mean, both of these sides, people have expected them to be really low towards the bottom. Some have even got Oxford to get relegated, Steve. Mm-hmm. How do you find this one with Oxford and Portsmouth going head-to-head?
So I've got Oxford to get relegated, but I actually give them the win for this one. I've given them a 2-0 win is my prediction. I don't know why I've put down Peterborough instead of Portsmouth in my spreadsheet, but it's definitely not Peterborough. I've got Portsmouth finishing 14th. To be honest, I think you could easily say that Portsmouth would also struggle this season. I think both their budgets are going to, against some of the teams that have come down and even the teams that have gone up, I think they've both got the lower end of the budgets in this league. So, Oxford to go down for me, but a 2-0 win. So a happy opening day for them.
Rich, who have you got for this one?
I've actually got Oxford getting relegated. I've got them finishing second bottom. I like Gary Rowett. I don't think everyone likes his. Be a great fan of his football that he plays. That he's done a good job at Burton. He was there. He was at Millwall. He's been around in Derby, Stoke, I think, and he done really well to keep him up last season. Obviously, Massinio, he done really well at Portsmouth. I thought they were going to struggle last season, and they managed to stay up. I think both are going to probably be at the lower end of the table. Like I said, Oxford, I've got them going down. I don't think Portsmouth will go down. I think obviously Fratton Park, their home form there will be key. Colby Bishop's still there if he can get some goals. I'll go 1-1. I think it might be they'll cancel each other out and it'll be a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, this is going to be two sides who will probably get a lot of draws this season. They want to stay in games for as long as possible. And when you talk about Gary Rowett's side, they really like to stick in games, don't they, a lot, and make it difficult for teams to break them down. I think Pompey, I've got 19th, and Oxford, I've got 20th. So I've got neither to go down, but I do think they'll be down there, respectively, with how much they can actually spend between them. Massinio, I think, did a great job last year. Oxford, I had them to go down last season, by the way. They proved me wrong. I think Charlton will stay up this season in my eyes in doing Oxford. I'm going to back you, Rich, for a 1-1 draw between Oxford and Portsmouth. I think they're just cancelling each other out. Like Blue Fox says, 0-0. 3-1 Pompey, 1-0 Portsmouth. Strong at Fratton Park. Yeah, this is where Pompey's going to get most of their points because they've got a good atmosphere at Fratton Park, haven't they? You know, when they get going, they're a good fan base in the Championship. Pompey, they always have a good following as well. That rivalry this season between Pompey and Southampton is going to be something else, which has been a while since they've met each other in the league. Next one, Rich, we're going to come with you with this one. Stoke versus Derby. How do you see this one between the two sides?
I always expect Stoke to do actually better than they ever do because I don't think they've even touched even anywhere near the playoffs since they've got relegated. Yeah. You know, and they've obviously got Mark Robins now, good manager. I think if you look at Derby, John Eustace, they've done some really good transfer business this window. Got Carlton Morris, haven't they, from Luton? I think he's a good signing.
Proper dug out Blackburn, though, aren't they? With all the signings.
Yeah, he's raided there. I'm going to go a 2-1 away win for Derby.
Oh, okay. Where have you got both sides this season, Rich?
Stoke, I always say that they're gonna do well, but I think probably lower half. And I think Derby could surprise a few. I think I had them 10th or 11th. You know, there's always one team who sort of surprises everybody. And you look at Derby, big club, aren't they? Really, and they've been sort of floundering around a little bit. Obviously, they were in League One, and now they're back in the Champ. And I think Eustace is a really good manager. I think he obviously done a good job, didn't he, when he was at Birmingham. Harshly treated there when they sacked him and got Rooney in. Yeah. Then he went to Blackburn, and then we know what Blackburn are like with the Venke, and he sort of had enough there, and now he's jumped ship to Derby. And I think they could surprise a few people this season, Derby. I think they'll have a solid season. I think they'll finish a lot higher up the table than they did last year.
They've had a solid window. They have brought in some good attacking players. They've had to tighten that defence a lot more. But then you look at John Eustace, proven Championship manager. I mean, he had Birmingham in the playoffs at one point, and then he ended up getting sacked for some reason that they wasn't really happy with. So he's one of them managers. He can be very hard to beat. You look at when he went to Blackburn, he transformed them better than they ever was when he went there. I think he's proven that he can do it. I think Derby, I've got him in 13th. Stoke, they're always one of them who you never know what you're going to get. I've got them 17th this season. So I think this one will be an interesting one, but I think Derby picked Stoke to this one. I'm going to go 1-0 Derby. What you got, Steve?
I actually have the same as Rich. I've got a 2-1 Derby win. Okay. I just think, for me, I've got Stoke at 16th and Derby at 18th. For me, Stoke season rests on whether or not they sell Johansson. You know, he faced the most shots. He saved the most shots last season out of any goalkeeper, and did the year before as well. So if he leaves, they could really struggle. But yeah, I mean, they're not. I don't think either of them are good enough to sort of trouble the top six at all. But you know, staying in the league for Derby is a good thing. Stoke, they're expecting a bit more, but yeah, I just can't see it. You know, the divide gets bigger between these sides, the relegation sides, and the teams in the Championship already. So, yeah, a 2-1 win for Derby.
Fox Fanatics has got 1-1, 2-2 from Arthur, 1-1 draw, 2-1 Derby, 1-0 Derby. Stoke too strong, 2-0. Stoke 1-0. Yeah, interesting scores. I think I've done these back to bloody front regarding Stoke and Derby. That's supposed to have gone after QPR Preston, but hey, we move. Right, Loftus Road. QPR versus Preston, boys. Steve, How do you see this one going? Obviously, QPR with a new manager. Preston have been quite busy in this transfer window, but they're really still lacking in them attacking areas, I'm afraid, Steve. But how have you got this one at Loftus Road?
So I have got this down as a draw, 0-0. QPR, they've brought a couple of players in. Poku from Peterborough on a free transfer looks like a decent signing. They've got that Dembele, is coming from League One, who was at Celtic, I believe. He was a young that everyone was raving at Celtic, and he went to France. The big thing for them is if Borough can make the step up from League One to the Championship. Signed on a 1.2 or so million pounds from Burton. Scored 11 goals last season. So if he can make the step up, they can do all right. But I have QPR finishing 15th, and I have Preston, for me, finishing 20th, just out of the side of the relegation zone.
Rich, what have you got for these two sides?
Going to be a cracker then, Steve. 0-0. Oh, he's gone.
Oh, he's gone. Me and you for now.
Look, new manager at QPR. I don't know a lot about him. I'll be quite honest. Preston struggled last year. I think the cup run they had, Jack, sort of hampered them a little bit. You know, sometimes you have a cup run, it sort of helps your league form. I think it went the other way, and they were very lucky to stay up, weren't they? I think they only stayed up on the last day of the season. I think they're going to struggle again, Preston, this season. I think they'll be down sort of bottom 6. I think there's a few teams who could be down there, and you're probably going to need 48, 49 points to survive. This game, I'm pretty much with Steve. I think there might be some goals, but I'll go for a 1-1 draw.
QPR, Preston. Jesus, this was my sort of hard one to call. Preston, I don't feel have got enough in attack. I know they've brought in Smith from Sheffield Wednesday, haven't they? I just think the defence needed really shaping up for Preston. They have leaked a lot of goals last season. They could have very much gone down. I think Heckingbottom could be probably one of the managers to be sacked, to be honest, quite early on. QPR, new manager, don't really know much about him. I think Dembele is a cracking player, by the way, of QPR. I think Martin Cifuentes were their man who kept that glue together at the QPR side. Haven't really had a great pre-season QPR regarding results-wise, but pre-season is never really telling, is it? It's what you do in the league in the end that matters. So Preston and QPR, I've got Preston to struggle. I've got them in the bottom 6, to be fair. QPR, I've got them rounding about the bottom half of the table. So I've got this one on QPR home advantage 2-1. 2-1 QPR. Barry's got 2-0, 2-2, 1-1. 1-1 again. West Brom couldn't even beat Leeds. It's not really about Leeds this show, but we move. Leicester 1, West Brom 2 in September. That's a bloody long time away to think about that game. You know, everyone just bloody starting off the season thinking about other results. Moving on to the Hawthorns, lads. West Brom under Mason. Blackburn. I mean, they've sold a lot of their good players, haven't they? Blackburn, Derby have absolutely terrorised them regarding taking all their players and that. They have lost Tyrese Dolan as well, who's went to Espanyol, I think. So Blackburn looking a bit wafer thin regarding their squad. How have you got them for this one, Steve?
So I've gone for a 1-1 draw here. The one standout for me in the Blackburn team is a certain central midfielder called Sidney Tavares, who we let go on a free transfer, and he went to Portugal. He's back in the Championship with Blackburn. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on this season. West Brom haven't really been that busy in the transfer window. They've only signed 3 players, but roughly about 10 million. They've signed Nat Phillips from Liverpool, which is a decent centre back, to be fair. George Campbell's coming from Montreal, and then a Hegeby from Brann in Norway. So whereas Blackburn have been more sort of wheeling and dealing, as Harry Redknapp would like to say. So 1-1 draw for me. I've got West Brom finishing 10th and Blackburn finishing 13th. So not that much between them, and this will be the same here.
Steve, who have you got for West Brom and Blackburn? Where have you got them both, actually? Rich, sorry.
I think West Brom's key player, I see Southampton linked with him, Tom Fellows. I think he's a really good player. I wouldn't mind him at Town, if I'm being honest. If Hutchinson went, he'd be probably one I'll be looking at. So it'd be interesting if they can hold on to him. Blackburn, yeah, look, I think they've done well the last few seasons under the Venkeys. I think they might struggle this season. I think they've got Vladimir Ishmael, and he's the gapper there. Tough place to go to Hawthorns. I'll go a 2-0 Baggies victory.
Fantastic. West Brom, I mean, they've tightened up the defence in this transfer window. I haven't really done a lot, like Steve said. Blackburn, I sort of worry for them this year. I don't think they're going to be anywhere near close to the playoffs, to be fair. Sydney Tavares, I think, will have a good season, being an ex-Fox. Blackburn, I've got 14th. West Brom, I've got 9th. So a bit optimistic, I think, with West Brom, because you don't really know how they're going to get on with Ryan Mason to get his things across. But I've got West Brom winning this one 2-0. Josh Madger is a decent striker as well. Yeah, 1-0 West Brom. 0-0, cancel each other out. 2-0 West Brom. Boring 0-0. I mean, there'll be a few of them, I think, during the season. 1-1. 0-0 again. Bloody hell, a lot of draws in this one. Next one, Rich, Sheffield United, Bristol City. And you know how this one sort of ended in the playoffs, to be honest.
They got battered, didn't they?
Yeah. Did these two meet again? How have you got this one?
I think the Blades will win. I'm interested to see what Ruben Sellers does there, because I think he done a good job. It was at Reading, and then he went to Hull, didn't he? And he kept them up. Look, he's going to be under pressure because obviously the Blades, there's expectation there that they failed last season. They've still got Gus Hamer, which I thought they might lose him. They could lose him before the end of the window. Bristol City, I think, massively last season overachieved. I think they done excellent to get 6th. But I only think you have to look at sort of when you watch them in the playoffs, the massive gap there was. I mean, they finished, what, was it 20 points, Jack, I think, behind Sheffield United? 25, I think it was. Yeah, something like that. And you watched over them 2 games, the gap was massive. I will go 2-0 Blades.
I don't even think bloody Bristol City should have turned up in the bloody playoffs. I'd have played in both legs. I'll be honest. That leg were over in the first leg, to be fair, and it was quite comfortable second leg as well. Sheffield United, I think, comfortably win this, to be honest. I think they've still got some very good players. Tyrese Campbell scores goals. You've got Gus Harmer, who's one of the Championship's best centre attacking mids, if I'm honest with you. I think he's a great player. I think he's very instrumental to the way Sheffield United go about things. Sheffield United are way for thin, though, in some areas where they need to really strengthen ahead of this window if they do really want to push for promotion this season. So
they still got Tom Cannon there, Jack.
Yeah, they have, and they want the money back.
I mean, they signed him. How much they? Was it 8 million?
£10 million.
Hardly got a goal, did he?
But yeah, 1 goal in 17.
Yeah.
It sounds like that 1 win in 17 for bloody Mick McCarthy when you talk about Tom Cannon. It's just crazy. I don't know. Tom Cannon, people are saying he's going to get better this season. He talked to Sheffield United fans. They want him gone. It's like, yeah, we don't want him. He's crap. We want £10 million back from Leicester. And Leicester are like, well, we're not getting it back. So it's not what we do. Yeah, but I've got 3-0 to Sheffield United. Comfortable for me. What's your thoughts, Steve, on this one?
I've gone for a 4-0 Sheffield United win. My obviously with Bristol City losing Liam Manning to Norwich, that'll be a big hit for them. And I don't know how good Gerard Struber is. I know he got relegated with Barnsley. He was in the Red Bull system for a little while, wasn't he? He was at New York Red Bulls and RB Salzburg for a little bit. He did actually go to Cologne, who obviously they beat us in pre-season. So, but he joined Bristol in June. I don't think they'll have a good a season as they did last year. I've got them finishing 12th. I've got Sheffield United actually finishing 6th this season. Bit of a bold prediction, but yeah, I think they've got too much quality, and it'll be a bit of a whitewash for them.
I'd imagine so. Sheffield United, where have I got them actually? I've got them finishing 4th. Bristol City, I've got them finishing 11th. I don't know whether it's going to be playoff hangover for them, to be honest. They'd want to forget that quite quickly of how things went last year. But different manager again, different style of football. I think they've got a decent squad, Bristol City, but did they overachieve last season? Probably, to be honest. But Leo Manning did some good things at Bristol City. So, I don't know. I think maybe I don't see them in the top 10. I think it's reasonable where I put them. But the last game of the weekend is coming from the King Power Stadium. Leicester City taking on very deep in trouble Sheffield Wednesday, Rich. And Sheffield Wednesday are not looking good at all. You look at the day-by-day stuff that's going on with Dusan Chanziri on that one. How do you sort of look at this one when they're taking on Leicester?
I think they're going to turn up, aren't they? I've seen that they're going to play the game because obviously they didn't play the game against Burnley last. Look, it's an absolute shambles there at Wednesday.
Big up, Lee.
I'm not quite sure what he's sort of trying to achieve. Chanziri there, look, he wants 100 million for the club. I mean, he's not getting that. Sheffield Wednesday, look, fantastic football club, fantastic fan base. Look, they've had one of the stands has been closed. I was reading today that might be open for the first home game of the season. They're not sure. A mess on the pitch. I mean, Danny Roll was always going to leave, wasn't he? He was always going to leave. It was just a case of when he left. Now they've got Henrik Pedersen in.
Yeah.
I think they've only got, is it 15 senior players?
Yep.
Yeah. Now the question in Barry Bannon's signing as well, because he were on a free agent and obviously signed a contract there. And the EFL have gone against it and said, well, we don't think he potentially won't be playing. So they're waiting on that one now as well. So
it's really sad. It's really sad because it's a great football club, and it's just, if you're a Sheffield Wednesday fan, you should be looking forward to the season starting. I said they're on about having a protest, and they coming in after 5 minutes. Their fans, because obviously it's live on the telly. Look, I think the game only goes one way. I think it's good for you. You know, no one wants to see football clubs like Sheffield Wednesday struggle. You know, whatever your rivalry is, I think in football, you know, it's ownership, bad ownership. It's you look down the leagues, you look at Morecambe, you know, how they've been treated. It's really sad. You know, we watch Sky Sports News, and you've got your constant feed about like Isak and players like that, and clubs like Sheffield Wednesday and Morecambe should be getting more eyes on them, as far as I'm concerned, because stuff like that, it shouldn't be happening. As far as the game goes, I think it's not a gimme for you, but I think it's nearly as close to gimme as I could say. So I think you beat them. I think I'll go 2-0 victory for Leicester.
Steve, what do you reckon of this one? Because you know, we're the two of them, aren't we, to be honest? But then when it comes to the game, we have to put that aside, I'm afraid. As much as we really consolidate with Sheffield Wednesday regarding how things are going at the minute, but Leicester on the first game of the season, they're thinking, how many are we actually going to let in? You know, looking at Leicester's squad and that, and this is probably not the ideal game for them to start off with, to be fair.
No, so we said yesterday that, you know, we all feel guilty. We all feel sad for Sheffield Wednesday. They deserve a new owner. They're a big club with a lot of history, and they don't deserve what's happening to them right now. But the 90 minutes on Sunday, I couldn't give a shit, in all honesty. And I've gone pretty strong with this one. I think we get out the blocks early, and I've actually gone for a 6-0 win. I know that's quite big. I know.
Wow.
I just think, you know, we've got Fatawu back from injury, who's raring to go. Mavididi looking to prove a point after not playing much last season. If El Khanous is still here, then, you know, that front three with Jordan Ayew, oh God, but still Jordan Ayew, you know, I think we've got too much quality. And if they've only got 15 players, 14 potentially if Bannon isn't playing, you know, they're going to be knackered because they've not had a great pre-season, have they? They haven't played a game.
They ain't played
for 2 weeks. Well, they had a couple of games, but then the Barnsley game got cancelled last Friday, didn't it? So
Yeah.
I don't know if they've had any behind the scenes pre-season games or what.
I think Lincoln behind closed doors.
Right. But I just don't think they're going to be fit enough, unfortunately. So yeah, I've gone for them to lose 6-0. I've got them finishing bottom. I think they'll go into administration before the end of the season, unfortunately. And because I'm a Leicester fan, I've got to back the lads. I've got Leicester winning the league.
Yeah. This Leicester team's got a point to prove this season with a points deduction thing hovering over our heads. A lot of people. So I spat my tea out yesterday because I seen somebody on a prediction said Leicester's going to finish 12th, and I sort of laughed out loud. I was thinking, what kind of predictions? People have not really gone into the research of things, have they, regarding Leicester? You look at Leicester's squad. Ipswich and Leicester, they've got the best squads in the league, haven't they? Southampton have got a very good squad. We're not going to be there to be messed about with this season. We all want to win as many games as we can because last year between us, we didn't really win many. So, we're not coming down to mess about. Leicester, they want that fight, don't they, to say to the FL, do you know what? You can give us what you want. We're there to win games this season. And I do kind of think with this Sheffield Wednesday game, 14 players, if Barry Bannon's not playing, we're gonna run them ragged. Like, they've not had a pre-season like we have. And the players that we've got, the quality in the squad, El Kanous, Fatawu, Mavadide, Jordan Ayew's going to be playing. This is a Leicester team we're bit in between their teeth. And I don't want to sit here and say comfortable win, but I definitely think it is going to be a resounding win for Leicester. We want to start off well with the goal difference and get our points in early on the board. So, yeah, Jeremy Mongi, you talk about Fatawu coming off the pitch. You've got Monga to bloody run things. 5-0, 10-0. I mean, the biggest championship score ever in a league game is 8-0. So, yeah, we want to sort of get in there. Wednesday, yeah, that's what I'm not hoping for, Barry, to be fair. They park the bus. They'll hold on for a 0-0 or something. 2-1. I'm going to go for 4-0. 4-0 Leicester. I think get a clean sheet. It helps us go. I think Marty Cifuentes will want to do well this season as well. He talks about the club's history today and how much he wants to get in the record books and that for that. So I'm very much happy about it. But Rich, thanks for coming on, mate. Appreciate it as always. What's coming up on your channel?
I've done a match preview today for the game tomorrow. There's also 1-24 predictions on there, so go and check that out. But I'll do a match reaction on Saturday morning. Hopefully, it'll be a positive result for us tomorrow night. Look, I'm looking forward to getting back to it. It's been quite a short break. Because we finished late, didn't we, Premier League? So
you go to St Andrews?
Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow night. Yeah, travelling up, leave about 3:30, and I'm looking forward to it. First goal tomorrow night, like I said, massive.
Yeah.
Don't let Birmingham score in the first 20 minutes because it's going to be a very, very difficult night. But hopefully we come away with something. Looking forward to the season, and looking forward to coming on here more.
Appreciate it. All the best for you tomorrow, Rich, and the Friday night football, and I'll catch you soon.
Cheers. All the best.
Mate. Steve, what have we got coming up tonight then, Steve? I mean, it looks like a free show thriller from the final whistle tonight. We've got a lot of heads on. We've got the match preview tonight at 8 o'clock, as we'll be joined by a Sheffield Wednesday podcast. So join us for that, 8 o'clock. We will be back for that in about, 35 minutes. So we're going to have to prep for that quite well. And then we've got the late night whistle. Wilfred Ndidi has completed his move to Besiktas, according to Mike McGrath. Mads Hermansen, Leicester have agreed an £18 million deal with West Ham for the Leicester City #1. So, yeah, we've got a lot to discuss, Steve, haven't we, in that show? That show tonight is going to be at 9:15. So we're going to be back chatting with everyone about Leicester City again. And, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Steve, take care, mate.
Cheers, guys. I'll see you soon.
See you later. And that is it. If you've enjoyed this stream, hit the like button for me. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you haven't subscribed around here. Please go down and do so. If you're a Championship fan, let me know your predictions for the weekend's games in the comments. Watch it on playback. And take care. I'll catch you soon. And keep it at the final whistle.